Carl, my man, I'm sorry for the delay. I wanted to finish that because I want to cut that as a clip. How you doing, my man?
No
You doing okay
worries,
today?
no worries. I'm trying to balance my camera so I'm not tilted. I just want to give you a glimpse of Bangkok skyline behind me. I mean downtown Bangkok right now.
Oh, that is gorgeous.
Yes,
I've only had the
I know
opportunity to visit Bangkok once. I was in Vietnam several weeks for vacation, and I decided to do Bangkok and Cambodia because I wanted to see Cambodia. I can't think
what
of the
year? What year was
last
that?
year. This was last year.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I last time I was in Bangkok was 2002. So
Um,
imagine my shock. 23 years later, I mean things have improved so much. In
yeah,
terms of infrastructure, I think it's yeah. Americans should travel more, man. That's how I think. That's what I say. Like they can
I
realize
agree.
the rest of the world really have already moved on.
They have. I mean, Malaysia and the construction that was in Malaysia was astonishing.
Hmm.
Loved Vietnam. Oh, I cannot think of the name. It's in Siem Reap. It's this that thing in Cambodia. I went to see it,
Cambodia, yeah.
and then I got trapped out of Vietnam. Made a
Hmm.
scene at the airport. Had a meltdown at the airport. It was humiliating. But just so the audience will know, Carl Jha is host of Silk and Steel podcast, focused on China and surrounding regions and their historic culture and politics. Carl, where can people find you? I'm always asking people that first now because I want, as a start of the interview.
I am on YouTube. My channel is just my name, Carl Za, and I'm a prolific shit poster on Twitter. So you can find my handle, Carl Za, on Twitter. I do also have a Patreon for my podcast, Silk and Steel Podcast, where I talk about everything China, history, politics, culture, and I'm doing a chronological retelling of Chinese history from very beginning. So I'm already up to death of Confucius in 478 BC,
Oh,
479 BC. Yeah, so I already covered
Carl,
like half of the Chinese history already.
I'm gonna have to find that. Oh, I have to track that down. I'm a sucker for that stuff.
Check it
Um,
out. Check it out.
yeah, I have to check that out. I'm a sucker for that. Like the World War II thing where they would do it, or World War One, where they were doing day by day, like every week, they would do the week. And they would start at the beginning and go all the way through the entirety of the war. They did the same thing with World War II. They did the same thing in between war years. It is radically informative. Thank you for this, man. I thank you for joining me. I want to show you something that Trump put on Truth Social. He said China has been hit much harder than the United States. Not even close. They and many other nations have treated us unsustainably bad. We have been the dumb and helpless whipping posts, but not any longer. We're bringing back jobs and businesses like never before. Now, China, in response to Donald Trump tariffs, put on a 34% tariff on all products coming into the United States. Now, Trump is trying to act as if, yeah, this is going to be bad for us. Now, mind you, he didn't campaign on this at all. This is out of the blue tariff war with the United States or a trade war against the world, believing that he is going to be able to cow the entirety of the world. And even in Europe, he went so far as to say Europe needs to pay America back reparations before he removes the tariffs. How is China accommodating these tariffs that Donald Trump is putting on? I mean, if I'm not mistaken, it's like 54% towards China.
Well, China is accommodating Trump's tariff move by slapping their own sanction on the United States. China just put a 34% tariff on all U.S. imports. And
Mhm.
now there are some people arguing, oh, no, it's the Chinese that's going to have to pay for those tariffs. No, they won't, because you have to look at what China actually imports from the United States. The largest export from U.S. to China is soybeans. Like you go down the list: soybean, corn. So United States basically function as a third world country that's exporting raw commodities and receiving manufactured goods from China, and he thinks they can demand China, terms. China don't have to buy soybeans from the United States. China can buy soybean from Brazil, a much friendlier country in the BRICS, and China has already done that. China has already switched to agricultural purchases from other countries. Now, there are some products China would like to buy, for example, advanced semiconductors, but guess what? The United States already have a chip sanction on China, so China can't get those products anyway. So
Right.
only thing China could purchase from the United States is agricultural products, corn, soybean. You know what? China said, forget it. We don't need to buy from you. We'll buy from somewhere else. Where is the United States going to buy their goods? Now everything's made in China, and where's US going to find an alternative? So tariff itself is not a bad idea, if you want to grow your own domestic economy. But the problem is the Trump administration thinks the tariff is a magic bullet. It's like this magic pill. Just take it and everything will be tremendous. But what actually happened is United States had hollowing out its industry for 50 years, since mid 70s, right? Because I'm born in 1976, I'm almost 49. So United States have hollowing out have been deindustrialized for 50 years, and now it says, you know what? I'm gonna raise the tariff, so I'm gonna make everything myself. Okay, where do I start? This is like an old man, imagine like a 70-year-old man who says, oh, back when I was 20s, I was a world champion in powerlifting, right? Except I haven't worked out since then, for the last 50 years. Now he's going to go back and he's going to bench press like 350 pounds. And, any sensible guys were like, whoa, grandpa, maybe go easy a little bit, right? Because if you think about it, a factory takes 3 to 4 years to set up and produce. Like, given if everything goes perfectly, right? What are you going to do in those 3 to 4 years? You're going to fucking pay tariffs through the roofs? Because otherwise, where are you going to get the alternatives? Right? You think you're going to, we don't have to buy from China. We're going to get from Vietnam. Guess what? You just slapped tariff against Vietnam. You slapped tariff against Mexico and Canada. So where are you going to get those products? In those 4 years before you set up a new factory, get it up and running, you're going to have to pay. You're going to pay through the roof. And this is a tax. Like all those people who are Trump supporters, right? Many of them are like, "Oh, we're against the big government. We hate taxes." What do you think tariff is? It's a fucking tax. It's a tax on general American population, and you're gonna have to pay if you want to buy stuff. And so this is so harebrained. You can't always count on American leaders come up with the most harebrained implementation of what could have been a good idea. And so this. The reason Trump thinks, and this is American mentality, right? Trump thinks if he just raised tariffs, everything will fall into place. Because this is just so American. Americans think like, I don't need to work out every day. I just need to take this diet pill. It would just like, bam, I'm gonna like washboard abs. That's not how it works, my friend. That's not how it works. And China is not backing down because China's like, you know what? Let's go. Bring it on. 34% tariff on all U.S. import, which means those Chinese importers probably not going to import corn and soybean from the United States. They're going to get it from Brazil. They have other places to turn to. And now we have our Commerce Secretary, he was on an interview with Chris Tucker, and they were using analogies like, oh, see, we are a debtor nation. Surplus nation like China actually in a weaker hand because it's like when you owe money from the bank can possess your house. But if you owe shitloads of money from the bank, then you own the bank. See, we own China because China need us. They need our market. Like, no, they don't. They make everything. They can just sell to themselves and to the global south, to the rest of the world. And in fact, now all the other countries, now the European country, even European countries, but also South Korea, Japan, they're all scrambling to sign new trade pact with China to make sure their supply lines will be intact. And so today, people in the United States don't even realize what's going on because China now have more trade with Southeast Asian countries, ASEAN nations, than they do have the United States. U.S. have, they think the Chinese economy is all like dependent on U.S. No. There's about 3% of Chinese GDP depends on export to US. So yes, those industry will get hit. They will get hit hard, but that's not fatal. 3% is not fatal. Like the rest of the Chinese industry are powering forward. And what's US going to do? Americans are now going to the Nike factory and make shoes. They're going to make shoes to export to China. That's what Trump wants. You know, they're going to make shoes and toys to trade for RMB, literally people's money. You know, that's going to be Chinese currency. It's going to be hard currency now, right? So the Americans are going to make shoes. They're going to make toys for the Chinese money. This is the result of the Trump policy. I mean, this is the most idiotic thing I ever heard. But you know, let's wait and see. Maybe they're right. Maybe they know something I don't. But who am I to say?
Yeah, I think the same thing. Maybe they know something I don't. I don't think that's the case. We've done this before. Like, we've had these tariffs on items before, Smith-Hawley Act, back in the 1930s, during the Great Depression, that made it worse. Trump, I would have, I have no belief that he is a steward of history, so he may not know this, but it's true. And this idea that you're going to, it's one thing if you have tariffs that are clinical, targeted, that are specific to maybe protect a particular industry. And even during the Smith-Hawley Act, it was specific to protect specific industries. It wasn't across the board. Trump has decided to do this all at once to the world, including against penguins. I don't know what penguins did to him, but one of the places that he's tariffing has only penguins living on the island. And it's like, okay, dude, what the hell? Like, this makes zero sense. And you are perfectly right. We are going to pay those, meaning when that comes into the US, we are going to pay the higher prices for those items. And not just the higher prices for the items, he is going to give the 1% a massive tax cut using the money from the tariffs, while we are effectively paying for it. It's a class war against the poor and the working class in America. Let me ask you something else. Xi Jinping came out and was like, hey, I know America's gone insane, but we're open for business. Do you think that this is going to be a situation where other countries now redirect to China as this kind of, all right, if China is open for business, they're willing to sell us the stuff, we'll take it from them if the US is not going to provide it?
If they're sane and if they have sane and rational leaders, that's what they would do. Well, I'm not sure about Europe because the European leadership is on a whole another level. But the rest of the world, I'm in Southeast Asia right now. I'm in the center of Bangkok. I can see it. I can see how the Chinese economy is pulling up all boats, all in the surrounding nations. Like, I go here, I see, like, out of the airport, I see about five giant billboards advertising Chinese EVs, like the brands that North America never heard of, because you can't buy Chinese EV in America today. Like, those are not even available here. But in Thailand, you can. And I see more Chinese EVs on the street than Tesla. I only saw a couple of Teslas so far here, but I saw many Chinese EVs. And in fact, this is killing Japanese and American automakers right now. Japan already got hit with double whammy. Japan and Germany, they're already losing out to the Chinese EV in Asia and in China, the world's largest auto market, which sells twice as many cars as the United States. And now Japan and Germany are also getting hit with tariff in US, the world's second largest car market. So they're getting killed, whereas the Chinese car makers, they're okay because they're not selling any cars in the United States. The tariff doesn't affect them. They already got hit with the tariff a long time ago. So they're happily selling to the rest of the world. And so like, I think Asia will be fine in the long term because they will just going to integrate further with the Chinese supply chain and the Chinese market. And the gravitational pull of Chinese economy will make sure that Thai lift all boats. That means Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia. I mean, I see the amazing kind of development here. I was telling you, I've been in Bangkok last time, 2002. Today is like night and day. After 23 years, it's so much development, which is such a big, sharp contrast than when I go visit my parents in the United States. Nothing has really changed in the last 15 years. And here they have metro, they're building high-speed rail, and everything is going up and up. And Asian century is already here, folks. It's already here. I can see it. I can feel it. I travel to Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, Indonesia, and China itself. It's already here, and it's leaving US behind. And what Trump is doing is he's trying to build a wall, trying to wall the US in, but except US don't have industrial capacities, right? I mean, if you want to reindustrial America, you need to retrain your workforce, you need to invest in your education, you need to invest in your infrastructure. Guess what? That's what China did in the last 40 years. But it's not, there's no magic pill. You got to do the hard work. You can't, it's not like a magic diet pill that boom, you're like, now you're Mike Tyson. That's not how it works.
I think what Trump thinks, if I give the highest angel of his point of view, which I don't agree with, by the way, but I'll give the argument that, all right, we will have to take pain because globalization is no longer in the best interest of America. China is eating our lunch, and we need to come up with something different and new. And so we need to build our own industries. We need to revitalize the business in America. And the only way to do that is to make it more expensive for people to buy things. Because if it's more expensive, then you'll be more inclined to buy that American part or that American product or that American whatever.
But the American product have to be there in the first place. There have to be American supply chain in place, but it's not here. After 40 years of deindustrializing, it's a hollow shell. America is a hollow
shell. Exactly. And that's the point. And so what he is expecting, I suppose, is, all right, we would have to pay more for foreign products, which would incentivize businesses in the United States to reinvigorate those industries that have effectively left, or for those industries to come back to the US and spend 5 to 10 years rebuilding itself as we take pain for all of that time. And keep in mind, this also means that even when those businesses start in the US, you're paying more because you're paying a $15, $20 wage, whereas you might be paying $10, maybe $5.
I can rant on this forever on the stupidity of the Trump administration, but I really have to go because I have a heart cut off. Like I gotta go right now.
Yeah, you're perfectly fine. Carl, you're fantastic, man. Thank you for this. I really do appreciate it.
Thank
Carl Jia, he is host of Silk and Steel podcast, focused on China, surrounding regions of their historic culture and politics. Carl, you have a fantastic day, man. Be safe. Thank you.
Thank you.